Have you ever wondered what makes a life truly strong? We dream, we build, we plan, but when trouble comes, what keeps us standing firm? One that stands firm even when the storms of life hit hard. Is it our money, our talent, our success, or something deeper, something unshakable? Jesus once told a story that answered that very question. A story about two builders, two houses, a story not just about two builders, but about two ways of living, and one powerful truth that still speaks to us today. Join us as we explore the timeless parable of the wise and foolish builders, a story that shows us how to build a life that lasts forever. Long ago, Jesus was teaching a large crowd by the hillside. People had come from far and near, fishermen, farmers, mothers with children, all eager to hear his words. He looked at them with kindness and said, "Everyone who listens to my words and obeys them is like a wise man who built his house upon the rock." And so Jesus began his story. Once there were two builders. Both had the same dream: to build a beautiful home of their own. Not just walls and a roof, but a place filled with laughter, warmth, and peace. Every morning they woke with excitement, imagining what their homes would look like. Strong walls to keep their families safe, windows that let sunlight pour in, and a roof that could stand against any storm. They both gathered their tools, their plans, and their hopes, and set out to make that dream come true. But they didn't share the same wisdom. Though their dreams looked the same, they made very different choices. The first man was wise. He didn't rush. He wanted his home to last, not just for a season, but for a lifetime. He walked far and wide searching for the perfect place to build. Through quiet valleys, across streams, and over rough hills he went, until one day he found it, a great solid rock. It was hard and strong, not easy to dig into, but safe and lasting. He knelt down, ran his hands across its rough surface, and smiled. "This is it," he said softly. "It's strong, it's steady. This is where my house will stand." So he began to build. He carried heavy stones, mixed mortar, and worked hard under the sun. The days were long, the sun was hot, and every stone he lifted seemed heavier than the last. Sometimes his hands ached and his back grew sore, but his heart was full, because he knew every brick he placed had purpose. People passing by shook their heads and laughed. "Why work so hard?" they said. "The sand is softer, easier. You'll finish faster down there." But the wise man just smiled. He knew something they didn't, that easy things don't always last, and that what's built on truth will never fall. Day after day, he built with care and patience, until finally his home stood tall and firm, and a roof that could face any storm, a place not just of wood and stone, but of wisdom and faith. Down the hill, not too far away, the second builder was also busy, or so it seemed. He had big dreams too, but unlike his friend, he didn't want to spend too much time working. He looked out over the valley and said, "Why climb those hard rocks? The sand here looks smooth, soft, easy to dig. This is perfect. I can finish my house in no time." He set to work quickly, proud of his choice. The sand was cool beneath his feet, and the breeze from the sea felt good. Within days, his walls were rising. He sang as he worked, smiling at how simple it all was. When his neighbor up on the rock passed by, still sweating and carrying stones, the foolish builder laughed and waved. "Look at me," he shouted. "You're still digging. I'm already done." His house was bright and beautiful, with shiny windows, painted doors, and curtains that danced in the wind. It looked perfect from the outside. He stood proudly before it and said, "Why struggle on the rocks when you can rest on the sand?" But what he didn't realize was that beneath all that beauty, his home had no strength, no roots, no foundation.
The wise builder had worked harder, yes, but his home rested on something that would not move. The foolish builder had worked faster, but his home rested on something that would not last. And though both homes now stood tall and proud under the sun, a storm was coming. Then one night, the skies began to change. Dark clouds rolled across the horizon. The wind that once whispered softly through the trees now howled with anger and might. Lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder cracked like the roar of 1,000 drums. Rain came pouring down, not in drops, but in sheets of silver. The rivers swelled, the waves crashed, and the winds struck the valley like a hammer. Down below, the man who built his house on sand rushed to the window, heart pounding. He saw the water racing toward his home. He tried to hold the door, but the wind tore it from its hinges. The sand beneath his home began to shift, first slowly, then faster. The walls trembled, the floor cracked, and in a single terrible moment, the whole house came crashing down. When the storm passed, nothing was left but broken pieces, washed away by the flood. Up on the hill, however, the wise builder's house still stood. The same rain fell, the same wind blew, but his home did not move. It stood firm upon the rock, strong, unshaken, safe. Two builders, two houses, two very different endings. Even today we're all builders, not with bricks and stones, but with choices and habits. Every day we're building our lives, with what we believe, what we speak, and what we do. Some build on things that look strong: money, popularity, success, social media likes. But like the sand, those things can shift in a moment. One bad day, one hurtful comment, one disappointment, and suddenly everything we trusted can crumble. But when our lives are built on the rock, on truth, kindness, forgiveness, and faith in Jesus, then even when the storms come, we don't break. We bend, but we don't fall. We stand firm because our strength isn't in us, it's in Him. Maybe your storm is pressure from school, a broken friendship, or worry about the future. Maybe it's feeling lost in a noisy world. But remember, every storm can make your roots go deeper if you're standing on the right foundation. So today, let's choose to build wisely. Let's take time to pray, to love, to forgive, and to trust God in every decision we make. Because the strongest life isn't the one that looks perfect. It's the one built on faith. Join us as we explore more of these timeless stories, parables that connect ancient wisdom with our modern world, reminding us that truth never grows old. This was the parable of the wise and foolish builders. And remember, in every season of life, build on the rock that never fails.